You also talk a lot about initiation, and I know that you've led initiation rituals over the years, and you're kind of known in this Sonoma County for that work. Um, and you suggest that we're being called to an initiation, and you say it's a rough initiation. What can you tell us about rough initiations? Is there any other kind?
Well, yes, there are. There, like, let's see, a traditional initiation that would be held in an intact village community, tribal community, is what I call a contained encounter with death. And the containment is provided by the community, by the elders, by the ritual, by the ancestors, by the land, by the space and time set apart from the community. That all provides a profound containment field for this unraveling of our psychic lives.
Yeah, and also the fact that it's embedded in a tradition. It's something that we have done for millennia, our
Exactly.
people,
Yes. And so you
but
see this
but
evidence.
we don't quite have that built into our
Yeah.
culture.
No, we have almost none of that.
Yeah.
Now there, so again, this rough initiation idea came out of the cancer help program because I began looking at their experience and seeing the parallels between what was happening to them and what happens in traditional initiation. There are three things that typically happen. There's a severance from the world that you once knew.
Hmm.
So the initiate is taken out of his or her or their family setting and they're escorted outside the village. You get a phone call one day and say, or you're going into your see your doctor, and they say it's positive. You have breast cancer, you have glioblastoma, you've got liver cancer, or you've left the world that you've been in. Up until that moment, you were a certain person,
Yeah.
and that world is shattered in that moment. Which leads to the second thing that happens in initiation. There's a radical alteration in your sense of identity. Who I was is no more. I've heard, I can't tell you how many times at the cancer program, I don't know who I am anymore. And of course, we hear that in therapy. We hear that we've probably felt that in our own lives from time to time when things unravel. And the third thing is there's a sense that we could never return to the world that was.
Hmm.
And in initiation, you don't want to return to the world that was. That's one of the fallacies in Western medicine and Western psychology will get you back to where you were before the fill in the blank.
Hmm.
That would be wasting a perfectly good cancer, heart attack, depression, or now global crisis. We don't want to go back to where we were. This is an invitation for some type of new revelation of how we have to, maybe it's an old revelation, of how we have to once again return to and restore our relationships to one another and to the land base, to our watersheds. We can't continue to do this anymore.
What's the third word that you used? You had a word for the first and the second, and what's stage three of initiation?
There's a profound sense you can never return to the world that
Oh,
was.
that is okay. That is it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's radical severance, alteration of identity, and there is no return.
And therefore, you have to be born again in some way.
We have to undertake the ordeal as an obligation, as a kind of a, how should I say it? This is the opportunity right now that we're facing towards a collective movement towards maturation. We have been living, particularly in white Western culture, in a very adolescent fashion. What can I get? What's in it for me? Even our psychology is about self improvement. It's about me. Initiation, as far as I've ever studied it, was never about the individual. It was always a ripening of the individual for the sake thereof. You were prepared to become someone who could caretake and help sustain the village, the watershed,
Hmm.
the animal life, the food sources. You were being prepared to take your place as a member in a functioning community.